On our anniversary, my husband announced his secretary was pregnant for him, then called me Barren. I never imagined the day I'd celebrate my wedding anniversary would also be the day my entire marriage collapsed in front of me. That night began with roses, candlelight, and a soft piano playing in the background. But it ended with words so cruel they cut deeper than any knife. It was supposed to be special. 10 years together, 5 of them married. I wore the dress he once said was his favorite, the navy blue satin that made my eyes shine like stars, as he used to tell me. The restaurant was elegant, with crystal glasses and an anniversary cake waiting to be served. For once, I felt hopeful. Maybe, just maybe, this dinner would remind us of who we used to be before the fights, before the distance, before the silence. But the man across the table wasn't the same man I had fallen in love with. He was distracted, restless. His eyes kept darting to his phone, his fingers drumming against the tablecloth. I tried to break the tension, to laugh, to remember the sweetness of our early days, but he just offered short replies and fake smiles. Finally, as the waiter poured champagne and wished us a happy anniversary, my husband, Mark, stood up, glass in hand. He cleared his throat, drawing the attention of the few diners seated nearby. I thought he was about to make a toast, maybe even something romantic. My heart lifted in anticipation. But instead, he said words that shattered me. Tonight is about new beginnings. My secretary, Anna, is pregnant. We're going to have a child. My breath caught. For a moment, I thought I'd misheard. The room blurred, my ears rang, and I sat frozen, unable to move. Around us, forks clinked against plates as the few nearby tables gasped in shock. Before I could even process the betrayal, he twisted the knife deeper. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Something you could never give me. You're barren." The word echoed in my head like a cruel bell. Barren, a word I had silently carried in my heart for years, hidden behind forced smiles at baby showers, behind carefully crafted excuses when people asked why we had no children. I had endured invasive tests, hormone treatments, nights of tears muffled into my pillow, all while Mark had once promised me, "Children or no children, it's you I want." But now, here he was, spitting my deepest wound into the open, using it as justification for his betrayal. I wanted to scream, to throw the glass in his face, to demand answers. But no words came, only tears I refused to let fall in public. Slowly, I stood up, pushing the chair back with a screech that echoed across the room. Without a word, I walked out of the restaurant, my heels clicking against the marble floor, each step heavier than the last. That night, I packed a small bag. Mark didn't follow. He didn't call. He didn't even send a message. His silence told me everything I needed to know. The weeks that followed were the darkest of my life. Whispers spread through friends and colleagues. Some pitied me, some judged me, and others avoided me entirely. My mother cried when she found out, clutching my hands, begging me to come home. But I stayed in the small apartment I rented, drowning in loneliness. And yet, something inside me refused to break. One morning, as I stared at my tear-stained reflection in the mirror, I heard my own voice whisper, "You are more than this. You are more than what he called you." That day, I took the first step toward rebuilding my life. I began therapy, pouring out years of shame and hurt I had buried deep inside. I reconnected with old friends I had drifted away from during my marriage. I started painting again, a passion I had abandoned because Mark once mocked it as a waste of time. Slowly, the colors returned to my life. Months later, I bumped into Daniel, an old college friend, at an art exhibit. He remembered the girl who used to dream of hosting her own gallery. His encouragement reignited that dream. With his support and my own determination, I began to showcase my work at small local events. To my surprise, people loved my paintings. For the first time in years, I felt seen for who I truly was, not for what I couldn't give. Meanwhile, Mark's picture-perfect affair began to unravel. Whispers reached me that his secretary had left him after realizing he wasn't the man she thought he was. His company faced lawsuits, his reputation shattered. I didn't celebrate his downfall, but I couldn't help but notice the bitter irony. The man who once called me barren now found himself truly empty, abandoned and alone. The greatest turning point came a year later when I opened my very own art studio. On the night of the opening, as I stood before a crowd of supporters, I shared a piece of my story. Not the betrayal, not the cruelty, but the rebirth. I spoke about how healing can come from pain, how brokenness can give birth to strength. The applause that followed wasn't just for the art on the walls, it was for the woman I had become. I learned then that being barren had never been about my worth as a woman. Mark's words had been meant to diminish me, but instead, they pushed me to rediscover my strength. Today, I no longer define myself by what I lack, but by what I create. My life isn't barren, it's full of color, resilience, and hope. And if anyone ever dares to call me that word again, I'll smile and say, no. I am not barren, I am blooming. Sparkle's inspiring message for viewers. Sometimes betrayal is the fire that burns down the life we thought we wanted, only to clear the way for the life we truly deserve. Never let someone else's cruelty define your worth. You are more than your scars, more than your pain, and far stronger than you realize.